I'm back at Sanford Dam again, and I'm going to skip my usual intro. If you don't know where Sanford Dam's at, you should probably go back and watch my other 100-some videos of documenting what happened here. You can see the cement trucks there and the concrete pumper though. We are going to get over there really soon and watch them pour the floor of the concrete Weir spillways. On my way over that direction though, I do want to thank my new Patreons, Kevin, Scott, and Lynn, and for people sending me letters through the mail. So I'll pop my P.O. box up on the screen right now if anyone wants to send me anything there. But thank you to Rich and Bonnie. Pretty cool seeing the water flowing underneath the temporary bridge. Water level's actually pretty low right now, so quite a bit of rapids. And up here to the north, Sanford Falls is just around the other side of that earthen embankment. I got some great shots with the drone of that. As always, I'm going to be covering the engineering diagrams and details at the end of this video. And before I forget, I want to thank people who have sent me a couple drinks and donated towards a tank of gas. Check out the link in the description down below if you want to support those. Link is for coffee. Actually a great website because unlike many of the other ones, they do not take any fees out. All right, we're gonna head down there, down to the sill of Sanford Dam and watch them pour some of this concrete. Jumping into the drone video now. The drone is at about 100 feet in altitude and dropping down a little bit lower, facing towards the east. We can see the temporary lift bridge right here in the center of the screen, and Sanford Dam back there in the background. Tittabawassee River flowing underneath the temporary bridge currently, and again can see the concrete truck and the concrete pumper sitting in front of Sanford Dam, just getting ready to start pouring another lift of the concrete Weir spillway that is being poured inside the hollowed out Sanford spillway. So you can see that they used the breaker and opened up these spillways a little bit further so that they could get the boom of the concrete pumper right inside of here. Stay tuned till the end. I actually have a little bit of raw video just watching the concrete truck and the concrete pumper pump this in. And also there will be some new proposed engineering diagrams and details at the end of this video from the Four Lakes Task Force discussing some of the new plans that they're going ahead and putting in place here at Sanford Dam. Down here at the dam, you can see all the forms in place, pumper truck pumping in here right now. It looks like they're going ahead, starting to set some of these other forms in this spillway. So right now they're pouring the floor of Spillway 3 for the new Weir spillways. These take 100 cubic yards of concrete just for the floors. Let's go down here, check them out a little closer. I'm going to jump back to the drone video real quick here before you see my on-the-ground filming of them pumping in this concrete. I do want to discuss a few of the new proposed plans here at Sanford Dam. They really haven't changed that much from the 30% design criteria. Up there on Edenville Dam, there has been a lot of new design plans proposed, and it looks like those are progressing forward. But here on Sanford Dam still seems the usual that there will be crest gates installed here on the spillways, and then they will be putting in an RCC overtopping emergency spillway wall where the earthen embankment is. So we'll check out that area very shortly. Just flying over top of the spillways with the drone right now, getting you that bird's eye view, and we're able to see the water directly behind the dam and then the sill over here in front of the dam. At the time of me filming this voiceover, they're actually pouring the third lift. So right now that concrete boom was able to reach right up underneath that spillway, but when these lifts get higher and higher, they actually have to pump the concrete through holes that they made in the top of these hollowed out spillways. I will be back on site, hopefully filming this week, so you'll be able to see an update as to how the concrete Weir spillways are progressing inside of the dam. And here's just another great shot with the drone. I was getting down nice and close, right behind the dam, looking through the spillways where the old Tanner gates used to reside. You can actually see some of the scoring on the sides of the concrete. This is where the new crest gates will be installed. So this is the Spillway 3 that they're pouring right now. Let's go check out the ones that are already poured down here. So Spillway number 1. They've pretty much been pouring one a day. So it's going to take about 7 days for this to set up and cure, and then they can start doing the steps up here up on top. So looks pretty cool. You can see they patched up, put steel across where the catwalks used to span inside of here. Shot up on the inside. Let's check out spillway number 2 over here now. So this one was poured yesterday. So nice and smooth out here. And then back there where the steps are going to be going, you can see that rebar sticking out yet. Then spillway number 3. We'll hop out over here to the other side. So you can see all that concrete going down in there, all that rebar tied in place. Definitely a lot of hard work going on here. Great work by everyone involved. Fisher Contracting, Spicer Engineering, J&L Concrete. This is the guy who's doing the concrete pumping. He's actually the one that did the pumping of our house foundation and footings as well. So pretty cool seeing him out here as well. Let's check out spillway number 4. I do want to mention though too, if people want to check out my other channel, Mowbray Family Channel, you could see us watch us build our entire dream home. It's quite the process right now. We're just finishing up having our 25-foot deep pond built, and framing has also finished up. So pretty cool process, and I'm sure a lot of people want to see a lot of that dirt moving that's been happening there as well. So again, all that rebar tied in here. You can see that rebar sticking up where the step spillways will be formed, and then the catwalk portion that spans inside of here. The drone is probably only about 10 feet above the water of the Tittabawassee River right now. Pulling back, I am flying all the way up to 400 feet in altitude. We'll be able to take in the entire site from up this high. Sanford Powerhouse over on the left-hand side of the dam. See the temporary bridge back there in the background, and where the Tittabawassee River is flowing around the dam right now, currently going through where the earthen embankment used to be, through the breach channel, underneath that temporary bridge, exiting the backside, and then flowing downriver. Spillway number 5. Looks about the same as the last time I was out here filming, just last week. The rebar sticking up. Weep holes. And then the pass-through used to be right straight through there. You can actually see where that water used to be able to come through here. They can open up these baffles, and right now there's actually water on the other side of that, on the other side of Sanford Dam. So that used to be allowed to pass through there. I'm going to start dropping in altitude with the drone. We're probably about 200 feet in altitude right there. We're going to come right over here and take a closer look at Sanford Falls. You can kind of see the lake bed out there is not really too green yet. At the time of me filming this voiceover though, things have really started to green up over the last couple weeks. A lot of those cottonwood, willow trees and weeds are starting to take off in our Michigan springtime weather. But now you can start to see Sanford Falls right here at the top of the screen with the Tittabawassee River flowing over the top of them. We'll start making our way down this way, right up close to the temporary bridge, and watch the water flowing underneath there. I'm sure the bank swallows will be back very soon as well, making their nest over here in the sandbanks on the right-hand side of the screen. When that time comes, it's usually a little bit more difficult to get these shots. The barn swallows like to make nest on the powerhouses of the dam, and the bank swallows over here on the bank. So if you start flying the drone around their nest, they usually don't like that. They think it's a bigger bird trying to attack their nest or their babies. Again, you can see the water level is actually pretty low right now. Clay over here at the base of the sand embankment eroded a little bit, but now we can see all the riprap that is in place underneath the temporary bridge. that is doing a great job stopping any of the erosion from happening as the Tittabawassee River is being forced through this rather tight channel. See a little bit of clay over there underneath the riprap on the left-hand side, but really no erosion happening here at this time. Great shot looking underneath the bridge. And now we're looking to the north, so the other side of Sanford Falls, flying up this direction. And we can see just how much water is flowing over these right now. Probably won't be taking a canoe over these. I know there's a couple people that do kayak over these. And the previous year we actually did canoe right up to these, but we ended up portaging over the intense falls portion. When the water level is actually a little bit higher, the falls are not as prominent as they are right now with the lower water level. Jumping to the area back in front of the dam, we can see the Fisher concrete truck dispensing the concrete over into the concrete pumper truck, and that concrete pumper is pumping it underneath the hollow spillway, pouring the floor, the base of the new concrete Weir spillways. We'll jump back to this video very soon on the ground, and you'll be able to see a little bit more of that action going on. On my way, heading out of here now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed some of that footage. Always appreciate being allowed to come out here on site and document this so that everyone knows what's going on here and can see it for yourself. So make sure you go down below, hit that thumbs up button, make sure you subscribe to the channel to check out the next updates I will be doing. Next week they're supposed to be pouring the next lift, so that next step of the Weir spillway, and hopefully I'll be able to get out here to film that as well. And yeah, leave any questions and comments you have in the comment section down below. Maybe show some support for the hard work that the workers are putting in here. And until the next one, I'll see you then. I wanted to share with everyone some interesting things we have caught with the live camera on the Sanford Dam powerhouse. So you can see we have a cat that looks like he's enjoying the dam, just walking across the grading that goes across the spillways, the catwalk above the spillways on the Sanford Dam. So kind of an interesting thing that I was able to capture. This was a little bit earlier in the year. You can see how high the water is directly in front of the sill, almost ready to overtop that, and there was still some ice back there in the background. Not sure quite what the cat was doing, maybe just doing some hunting, but definitely using this as an access to get to the other side of the river. Looks like he's definitely did this plenty of times before and know where he's heading. And this next clip is actually going to be the larger excavator flying in the mini excavator to the area behind the sill. So you can see a little bit how they do this, how they have their rigging attached to the blade of the excavator and the boom on the front. Looks like the load is very well balanced. I'm just going ahead, lifting this evenly, taking things nice and slow, making sure that they don't have any oscillations in the load or swinging back and forth. And this was a time that the sill had overtopped during the springtime. You can see that there was a little bit of muck, maybe some ice back there that they needed to go ahead and clean up, so they always use this mini excavator to make their life a little bit easier by using the blade on that and shoving all the sediment, the muck, the slurry into one area that they could either use the excavator to go ahead and scoop it out or use the pumps to pump it over the other side of the sill. So make sure you go down below, leave a like if you enjoy me including some of this extra content that we're able to capture from the live cameras, and make sure you're checking those out every now and then as well. This is the last little bit of drone video I'm just going to include in here. You can see this tree over on the left hand side had the sediment washed out from underneath it, ended up falling into the Tittabawassee River. All the water coming from the right hand side is being directed underneath that temporary bridge, and it's just being directed right at this embankment over here. So a lot of erosion has occurred over there. That's also the area where the lightning strike did occur a couple weeks ago. So the next time I will be out there on site, I'll actually go check out that tree, see if we can see any destruction that's happened to it, any sort of marks from the lightning strike. here's another concrete truck coming back down in front of the dam. They have a pretty good system in place here. When one ends up emptying their load, the next one is right in line, ready to take its place and continue pumping the concrete into these spillways. So as always, make sure you stay tuned till the end of the video to see the new engineering diagrams and details. Directly after this little bit of drone video, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of this raw drone video as soon as I'm done talking. But then I will be showing you guys a little bit of the raw video from me filming on site, and you can see that concrete pumper pumping in that concrete, as well as them using a power concrete vibrator just to make sure there are no voids in this concrete.
At this point in time, Andy Baxter with GEI, would you like to walk through the Sanford Dam alternatives that we talked about?
Thanks, Kelsey. All right, so just right in parallel with Mike, we went through a Sanford Dam alternatives effort this past month. Effort will culminate in our meeting just said 2 weeks ago. We went through alternatives and selected one to move forward to progress the 60% design. At Sanford, we looked at it more of a wholesale alternatives. We had, and focusing in on the gated structure as well as the main embankment, the right embankment. The base design, which is what was presented in the 30%, didn't meet the updated flow requirements, and so we updated that 30% design. So that's your 8 gates, so modifications to the powerhouse, and the embankment, the right embankment, is an earthen embankment with a 350-foot labyrinth auxiliary spillway, similar to what's at Edenville, what's proposed at Edenville. And that labyrinth did get expanded from 250 to 350 feet, and that generated this kind of starting point for the alternatives. The big change that went from the base to the alternatives is the IDF flood elevation went from, as you can see, 634.5 to 638. What that enabled us to do was to reduce the primary spillway capacity, meaning at the same capacity, but at the higher head elevation, we were able to reduce the number of gates from 8 to 6. And then we looked at the embankment, and each of the alternatives is a different embankment and auxiliary spillway. So for the first one, we're still with the labyrinth spillway. So you can see the spillway width actually reduces from 350 to 250, and you still, similar earthen embankment. Alternative 2 is a basically complete removal of the earthen embankment and replacement with a full RCC structure that extended from glacial till up to the crest elevation. And through the center of that is a long straight weir with a low section in the RCC, which overtops during the flood events. And then the third alternative is taking that same approach with a long weir, and instead of doing the full RCC section, you have the earthen embankment with the RCC overtopping. We went through this, and I'll talk a little bit later about the selection, but landed for several reasons on the earthen embankment. We got a couple of slides now talking about that with the RCC overtopping. So starting from the left embankment, which is at the bottom right of the screen, you've got the powerhouse with the three bays. That is, wholly unchanged. There'll be some modifications for stability to it, but generally unchanged. And then you have your spillway structure, which currently has 6 gates or six bays, and we're keeping those 6 bays and replacing them with the new gates, just as you saw at Edenville. Working your way around, you have your low-level outlet structure, and then an embankment section, non-overtopping embankment section, and then the long weir. So this whole section from the low-level outlet extending through the turn and the overflow section and off to the right abutment is all RCC overtop protected. So we've got a level there. So training wall overtopping, and then right embankment. So you can see the alignment is very similar to what the current alignment of the embankment is. And in general, it's going to be a higher embankment to accommodate the higher IDF, and still pass our IDF. Okay, next. Here's a cross section through the RCC. And what you're looking at is you have the earthen embankment in yellow. You've got your sheet pile cutoff wall, which is going in as part of the stabilization efforts, and filter, earthen embankment, and RCC overtopping. laid down in lifts and placed across. In the background, you see as the hard line is the training wall, and then the non-overtopping embankment is the dashed line. So in general, very similar to what was pre-flood, except it's going to be a taller structure, and now we've armored both the non-overtopping and the overtopping section, meaning the auxiliary spillway, with the RCC embankment, RCC protection. Selection criteria, similar to Edenville. The main difference here is that is the bottom bullet, which looks at is dam safety and resilience to greater flood conditions. This is the last dam in the line. And so what we looked at here said, we have IDF conditions, and that's our design criteria. However, we've got several structures upstream, and we want to look at this as potentially being more resilient to a higher flood condition. We don't have M30 issues, and so we didn't need to look at those. Thanks. So conclusion, we went through that process. I didn't have the numbering here, but that alternative 3 landed up top, and the reasons were related to the cost effective and low construction risk. So that specifically relates to the powerhouse itself. By not having to do modifications to the powerhouse, reduce risk there. And then the other big part of that is that we don't have to excavate to glacial till along the entire embankment length. And so the dewatering requirements, the foundation exposure, all of that kind of we mitigate those risks with this alternative, and yet we still provide not just the needed level of protection, but some additional protection in the event of a higher flood condition. As Mike said, we presented this on last Friday to Eagle and AECOM, and we're in a similar boat where we're just about completed with a report which presents these figures as well as a discussion of our analysis.
Thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Also, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next videos I will be posting, and leave your questions, comments, and suggestions below. As always, I just want to give a massive thanks to the people who support me on Patreon. Never underestimate the value of your contribution to keeping this channel going. Thank you.